let's be real for a second. Have you ever faced a decision so tough, so agonizing that it literally felt like a war was raging inside your own head? Well, today we're diving into a really cool ancient text that has a surprisingly modern message for navigating that exact feeling. What we're exploring is the Mandra scripture, which is a contemporary take on the classic Bhagavad Gita. The idea here is to take this timeless, epic story and distill its wisdom into a practical guide for the kinds of massive challenges we all run up against in our own lives. All right, so to really get the message, we gotta set the scene first. Now keep in mind, this is a mythical story, but the problem it lays out, it's deeply, deeply human. So I want you to picture this. Two gigantic armies, lined up and just moments away from a war that's going to be absolutely catastrophic. But here's the twist. This isn't really just about a physical battle. The scripture uses this whole battlefield as this powerful symbol for our own internal struggles. You know, the moral dilemmas, the tough choices, the duties we have to face. And this is the question that just punches you right in the gut. It's the core of the whole story. It puts us right in the shoes of our hero and makes us face this just gut-wrenching choice. What do you do when your responsibilities, your duty, is in direct conflict with the people you love most? So who is facing this impossible situation? Well, that brings us to the story's hero. He's a celebrated warrior. His name is Arjuna, and he is about to have the defining crisis of his entire life. Okay, so here's the breakdown. On one side, you have Arjuna and his four brothers. They're called the Sons of the Bright King, and they basically represent order, duty, and the law. And on the other side, their own cousins, the 100 sons of the blind king, who've broken that law and unjustly snatched the kingdom. The battle lines are drawn, and it's family against family. So just as the battle is about to begin, Arjuna has his chariot driver pull him into the middle of the field. He looks across the way, and what he sees completely shatters him. It doesn't look like an army of faceless enemies. He sees his own family. He sees his grandfathers, his teachers, his uncles, his cousins, the very people he grew up with, the people he loved and respected his whole life. The weight of this realization it crushes him. And the scripture's description here is so vivid. It's not just an emotional crisis, it's a full-on physical breakdown. The sheer horror of his dilemma shows up in his body as this paralyzing physical despair. He starts questioning the entire point of the war. I mean, what kind of victory, what kingdom could possibly be worth the sin of slaughtering his own relatives? To him, this isn't a noble battle anymore. It's a monstrous crime, and he sees no honor in it, only horror. And so, at the most critical moment imaginable, the greatest warrior of his time just gives up. He literally drops his weapons, sinks down into his chariot, and says, "I will not fight." He is completely and utterly broken by the problem in front of him. And it's right here, at this point of total breakdown, that the real teaching begins. At this moment of absolute crisis, Arjuna's charioteer, who, plot twist, is actually the Lord Krishna in disguise, starts to speak. And his very first lesson is designed to completely reframe the entire problem. Well, it's pretty sharp. It's almost startling. He basically tells Arjuna, "Your sorrow, while I get it, is coming from a place of ignorance. You're acting like you're wise, but the truly wise don't grieve like this." He's challenging him to move from an emotional reaction to a place of deeper wisdom. So what is this big misunderstanding? Well, according to Krishna, it all comes down to the nature of the soul. The crucial point he makes is that who we truly are is not the same as our physical body. Think about it. The body is temporary. It's born, it ages, it eventually dies, but the person inside it, the soul, that's eternal. It just moves from one body or frame to the next. The scripture uses this absolutely brilliant analogy to make this clear. It says to think of the body like a set of clothes. You know, when your clothes get old and worn out, what do? You take them off and put on a new set. The clothes change, but the person wearing them, they're still the same. And this is the bottom line of Krishna's argument. What Arjuna is so afraid of destroying, the lives of his family, is, in its truest sense, indestructible. Yeah, the physical body can be harmed, of course, but the essential person, the soul, that's permanent. It can't be cut by a weapon, burned by fire, or touched by any force. Okay, so if the soul is eternal, what does that mean for us? How are we supposed to live and act in this temporary world? Well, this understanding leads directly into the second
and arguably most famous part of Krishna's teaching, a revolutionary guide to action. This right here, this is probably the most pivotal teaching in the entire scripture. Krishna tells Arjuna to focus completely and totally on his duty, on the action itself, and to let go of any concern for the outcome. He says, essentially, you have a right to your work, but not to the fruits of your work. This practice has a name. It's called the path of synthesis. And what it means is doing what you have to do, performing your role as best as you possibly can, but without being motivated by a desire for success or a fear of failure. You just act because it is the right thing to do, period. So how does this actually play out? Well, it means you do your duty with a steady mind. You treat winning and losing with the same calm. You act without being attached to getting something out of it. And, this part is really key, it doesn't mean you get to run away from your duty and just do nothing. Inaction is not the answer. The text gives us another fantastic image for the state of mind. A tortoise, right? Just like a tortoise can pull its head and legs into the safety of its shell whenever it wants, a wise person can learn to withdraw their senses from all the chaos of the outside world and find that stability and peace inside themselves. So, an ancient story about a warrior having a crisis on a battlefield. Why does this still resonate with people thousands of years later? Why should this matter to you and me right now? It's because Arjuna's battlefield, it's our battlefield. His struggle is our struggle. We all face those moments where our duty feels impossible, where the right thing to do is also the most painful thing to do. This story gives us a timeless way to think about finding our own clarity and purpose when we're in the middle of our own modern-day conflicts. And that really leaves us with a final big question to chew on. I mean, we live in a world that is obsessed with results, right? With winning, with profit, with getting ahead. In that kind of world, what would it actually look like to focus not on the outcome, but on the integrity of the action itself? What changes for you when you start acting with purpose and not just for a prize?